Thanks very much. I want to start by echoing some of the things that Steve and Chad have said about the President's Bowl. It's, I think I was trying to count the other day, if this is the 23rd President's Bowl. I've coached in 19 of them, because the first one was when we played Rapid City. The Sioux Falls schools were playing a Rapid City school. I happened to be coaching at Rapid City Central, and we came back and played in the President's Bowl for the very first one. And then I moved to Sioux Falls, Washington for 12 years, and now I've been at Roosevelt for, this is my 6th year, and so I think that's 19 President's Bowls. And so I'm used to it, and I enjoy it, I love it. As these guys have already said, it's a great experience for our athletes, for all of our students. It's a great experience for our coaches, anybody that comes to it. I'm just, and obviously we got the idea from the Dakota Bowl, but it's a good idea because everybody else in the state's trying to do the same thing. And so it's not just a fundraiser, but it's a, it raises the level of our schools, and not just in football, but in everything else. Everybody gets to, show what they've got and their the band and the dance teams and those kind of things. So it's just a great showcase of what we're doing in our school district right now, and I think it's a great place to be. Tell you a little bit about our team. Our first game of the year was against Brandon Valley, and the best part I think about our schedule right now is that we opened the season with 3 really good opponents. And so when it was, we're in the off season and we're talking about getting ready for the season, it wasn't very hard to motivate our athletes because they're looking at our schedule thinking, look at the guys we got to get ready for. And so it was we had a good off season because of that. But Brandon Valley comes in with a really good, high-powered offense, a lot of good players back from last year, and everybody predicted a shootout, and it certainly was. It ended up 42-34, and both teams had over 500 yards of offense. Both quarterbacks had over 350 yards passing. Everybody that I talked to after the game that saw the game said, what a fun game. And so obviously they like passing the ball, and you saw that O'Gorman is now going to throw the ball all the time too. So things are changing. But I want to mention a couple players from our first game. Terran Christian obviously is our returning quarterback. It's his 3rd year as a starter. And he's a special player. He had over 350 yards passing. He rushed for over 100 yards and accounted for most of what we did. Jake Bear rushed for about 70 yards. Jet Thune and Chase Minatary each had over 100 yards receiving in that game. We scored all of our points in the first half, and we're thinking we're pretty good by halftime. Things went well and didn't have any mistakes, no turnovers, and pretty much scored every time we touched the football. And the problem was Brandon Valley scored at least twice, and they were moving the ball on us pretty well in the first half, and we got a couple breaks to stop them. And so, we talked at halftime about how the game's not over. These guys are pretty good. They're going to come back. And they certainly did. I mean, they got the ball back to start the second half and scored right away. It's 42-20. We kind of goof around a little bit with the ball and don't score. And they just keep scoring. And it gets to be, 42-34 with a lot of time left on the clock. And we're not exactly clicking on all cylinders on offense. And so it gets a little tense at the end, but I was really happy that our defense, who struggled most of the game, was able to make a big play. Nathan Durfee intercepted a ball right on the goal line and ran it back pretty much the last play of the game to seal the win for us. And the momentum of that game was really kind of weird. I mean, we scored all our points in the first half, and Brandon Valley dominated the second half, and we're lucky to hold on. But we did, and so we just had a really young defense, and they're still learning how to play together. And when you play against really good competition, your weaknesses are exposed, and they exposed some of our weaknesses on defense certainly that night. Game 2 was Sioux Falls, Washington, as you heard from Chad. We watched their game film with Aberdeen, and they did exactly what he said. They pushed them all over the field. They're up and down, and I don't know how many first downs they got, but it looked like about 30. And kept the ball most of the game, and should have scored a lot more points. So we knew they were not, they shouldn't have lost the game. They're much better than their record showed, and so their offense is pretty impressive. Their offensive line, I don't know, the average is probably 270 something, but they got a 300-pounder. They got 2 or 3 guys that are 270, and they're small guys 235. So we knew they were going to be physical, and we knew they were going to try to ram the ball down our throat, and they did. We struggled again, defensively trying to stop the run, and so it was a challenge for us there. They had over 200 yards rushing, and the toughest thing for us was that they kept the ball away from our offense, and we think we have a pretty good offense, and we did have over 300 yards of offense in the game, but we had to do it in a hurry because they just kept the ball, and made really nice drives. I think we counted 3 or 4 fourth downs where we stopped them deep in our own territory to kind of salvage the ball game. And the last play of the game basically came down to a fourth down inside. It was 4th and 6 to go, I think, around the 6-yard line. And Cole Schroedermeyer made a great play in the end zone to knock the ball away. And so we're hanging on at the end again, just to win the ball game. But it's just a pretty good indication of the competition that we have in Sioux Falls. You've heard about it from all these guys. But we look at our schedule. Game 3, it's Lincoln. They're 2-0, dominated Rapid City Central. Played a close game with O'Gorman. Those two teams played really, really even. And both offenses, I think, were very impressive. Lincoln's got an offensive line that I think compares size-wise to Washington. And 3 of those guys are back from last year that started, and they dominated us last year on the line of scrimmage with those guys. So, another big challenge for our defense, trying to stop the run. The thing about Lincoln, their quarterback's pretty good. They've got big targets. Nickel Myers is kind of a nightmare for us. We had a hard time with him last year in the first game that we played him. He's a big, tall guy that can run and catch the ball. Their quarterback, Roach, is a really good athlete, and he's a little bit like our quarterback. He's a good runner, and they used him really well against O'Gorman. And we need a couple more weeks to prepare. So if we could maybe postpone the game a little bit, we'd feel a little bit better about that. But I just think they're obviously a very well-coached football team, and their defense is really sound. They've got good athletes over there. A big challenge for us. We have to really step up and play better than we have, I think, in the first 2 games, but that's the way it is. Every week you have to get better. And we're in the same boat. I'm sure these guys will tell you the same thing, that we cannot stay the same to win the games we want to win. And so we're excited to be there. We're excited to play. We're happy that we got through our first 2. We're just trying to improve. And I want to wish everybody luck except Aaron. And after they play us, they can have all the luck they want until we play them again. But I just want our players to get something more out of the President's Bowl than just the football game. I want them to understand that we're going to talk about it in our practice too, about how much work goes into that, and it's to showcase what they do and what our whole school can do. But I want them to appreciate it, and I want them to remember it. It's not very many high school kids that get to experience this kind of a setting for a football game. And, the football games are the centerpiece of the whole thing. And I want our guys to really understand that and appreciate it, and I know they will, and I know we'll play hard and make it a great show, and I really appreciate all the work that all of you have done. And it's always a good time and always a great thing for our athletes. So thanks very much.